Hello, my name is Todd Summers, Director of Research and Development for SoftWrite, and today I will be discussing the new AutoCoverage capability within TAP. This is a capability that has existed in TAP 6 for many years, has been brought over to TAP 7 as well. It allows the setup and execution of large numbers of studies. Very easy setup, very easy execution for large numbers of studies. This can be used for multi-site coverage where you have 10 sites covering a county, for instance, or 100 sites covering a state. It can be used for parameter optimization where you're adjusting things like down tilt, antenna heights, and you can set up multiple input files that can then run these individual studies, be used to set up and run individual studies, and you can look at the result and determine the best set of parameters for your application. Also for air-to-ground type systems where you have multi-site coverage, trying to determine coverage at multiple altitudes, for instance, different flight levels, 10,000 feet above sea level, 12,000, 14,000, so on. You can set up and run large numbers of studies, hundreds, thousands of studies very easily with the setup and selection of a couple of individual input files. Same structure as you have for fixed facility and mobile facility type files. Basically what you're doing is you're selecting sets of mobile facilities, sets of fixed facilities, TAP combines them into all the different combinations, and then you have a common set of study parameters for all those that are used for the set of studies. When you get TAP 7.6 and later versions, you'll see within the TAP 7 demo project an AutoCoverage studies folder here and an AutoCoverage example study which is included with TAP. It is a bounded tile study working off Douglas County in Colorado. It's just south of Denver. Within it, it's basically a 9x1 configuration, 9 fixed facilities to 1 mobile facility. The actual view within TAP for an AutoCoverage study is very similar to what you see for a coverage study. On the left side, you have your fixed facility pane. Right side is your mobile facility pane. You have your map graphic in the center showing the area that it will be covered for the actual study itself. And then below that map graphic is the study setup. What's new for an AutoCoverage is the Cases tab. That Cases tab has a case list. Within AutoCoverage study, refer to the individual studies that comprise an AutoCoverage study as cases. Each one is a row within the case list. It has a status. This can be a green check mark if it is ready to run, X if it is not ready to be run, and then a lock if it has already been run and has results. The tools are tools specific to that particular case or individual study. If it's ready to go, you click Run. You can delete the case. If it's already been run, you'll have the option of accessing under this drop-down the CSV, the summary, or you can open it, the individual shapefile within Mapper. There's also the option to create a cover study, which then can be which is brought outside of the individual study, and then you can push it around and put it wherever you want in your project. So that makes it portable, the individual cases. You have the case name here, fixed name, the mobile name, and then the options, whether you want to do it talk out and talk back, just talk out, or talk back only. Coverage area, topo data, propagation model, land cover, and surface features are all the same type of setup as you see for coverage studies. Under coverage areas, you still have the option to tile, radial, contour, and target studies. So for a tile study, it's a common area that's used for all of them. If you select range, it'll do plus and minus however many kilometers or miles from all facilities. So it'll take the northernmost, southernmost, easternmost, westernmost facility and use those for the actual bound determination. Target studies will just run over the same target list. With each one of these, you also have the ability to select a range limit. So it can limit it according to, you can do that large area, but for that particular case, limit it to within however many kilometers or miles of that individual site. So you don't, if you're doing like a wide state coverage, but you only care about 50 kilometers from each site, then it'll just do the 50 kilometers from each site, even though it's going to cover the whole area for all studies. As you select cases in the case list, you'll notice above that the selected one comes up a little bigger and in red, and then as you move through, it designates the different fixed facilities within the area that is shown. So let's go ahead and create a new AutoCoverage study. Right-click on AutoCoverage studies, select Add AutoCoverage study. I'll make it AutoCoverage study. Video. Click Finish. And you'll see it's listed here. There's no fixed facility or no mobile facility selected on either side because I have no cases here to select to determine which one that would be. If you look under coverage area, I had already saved as my study defaults a range of plus or minus 30 kilometers from my previous study, so it just has the last one I'd run. If I want to add cases to my setup, I will click Add Cases. Now you'll note that there is a list on the left, list on the right. If you're familiar with AutoPath, it's pretty similar to the AutoPath setup here. For this one, you can select this is going to be your fixed facility database shown on the left, mobile facility database shown on the right. You can select from your database and or from a file. So if I wanted to select, a couple of these from here, I could go and I could click those two, add them, and I can go to the file and I could also add those. If I click on the file button, I can click and you'll get this import facilities from file button that appears. And you can select a fixed facility database file. This is the same database file as comes out of the fixed facility export within TAP. So if you go to the fixed facility manager or from any of the panes that have fixed facilities in them and do an export of a fixed facility or a group of fixed facilities, it has the same format as this file. And that's basically what I'm entering here. Just click on that file, click open, and it puts all the information for those fixed facilities. I select them here. On the right side, I've got mobile facility, same type deal. If I want to select these, if I want to select one of these, I can select one of these. If I don't, I can go and select File, do the file access. I'll select the mobile facilities file that comes in the new AutoCoverage folder within the TAP work folder. Open. I get a mobile facility and a portable facility. I'll select both of them. Now, with I've got 9 facilities on the left side, 2 facilities on the right side. If I want a combination of what I get is 9 times 2 combinations. So under selected cases in the center, it says 9 transit facilities, 2 mobile facilities, so I get 18 total combinations. Now you want to set some common things for those cases just to facilitate the setup. You may want to run all these cases just talkback only or just talk out only. But in this case, I want to do talk out and talk back. Folks that are doing like voted systems, you want to do a setup for a bunch of the talkback only setups, systems, and then you go back again, run this, get this dialog again, and do the talk out and talk back for the other dual direction systems. Naming convention, if you're going to have multiple fixed facilities and multiple mobile facilities, you'll often want to go FF_2_MF. So if I select this option, the first case that's listed will be Douglas North 1_2_ Douglas Mobile. So that way you can tell which one you're accessing each time you click on it on that fixed facility. If you have 9 facilities and just one receiver, you may just want to do fixed facility names. So I just get everything out. All the outputs are just in that case Douglas North 1, Douglas North 2, Douglas North 3. If you have just one fixed facility and a bunch of mobile facilities, then you may just want to do a mobile facility name. It's up to you which one you select. Now, if you're going to set up like 50 by 100, you have 5,000 studies where you don't necessarily want to have all the individual studies listed out. You just want to have the studies. You can click on click name counter and do study 00001. It just increments the next one 0002, 00003, and then so on. And then you can go here and say what you want to be. So be like, my first set of runs 00001. My first set of runs 00002. You can designate what you want it to be. Say my runs. In this case, we'll just do FF to MF. And we'll click Add AutoCoverage Cases, and they'll be shown here. And as you select these, you'll see them selected above. If I go under Coverage Area, I'll select Range, click OK. In this case, do 30 kilometers plus or minus. I put a range limit of 30 kilometers as well. So if I go down to my cases, you'll see the range limits appear for each one of these. This would be the areas they do on each of these. For this particular one, since we're doing a video and I want it to be quick, I want to just run it with grid step of 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer for this particular case. Now, when you first set it up, you may want to, you set up like 1,000 studies. You don't want to run all 1,000 studies and find out that something's wrong. So you can just go through and run a single one. It gets kicked out to the study server. It completes already. Go to status. It already completed before I even got there. Clear this. And then the preview is shown here. As you move over, it'll show the preview results. Pretty pixelated. It's 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. When you run it in practice, you're going to run it with like 100-meter resolution, or maybe even 10 meters, depending on the size of the area you're running. Now, if I want to run all of them, I can either click on the Run Current Study button up here. I can right-click and choose Run Study here, or I can go into Run Study Batch and run sets of studies, both that AutoCoverage study and any other studies that have not been run in the project. So for this particular one, I'll just click the Run Current Study button. It sends them all to the study server. As each one completes, you get a CSV and a summary file that's written out, as well as the shape file. And then when it completes running, it'll load them all up in Mapper. So we'll let this run through. You can see it just zips through these. And as they're completing, you'll be able to click here and see the previews for these individual studies. Two left, one left, and then it completes. Mapper loads up with the individual studies. So you have them all in here now. You can do whatever manipulation you want. Mine loads up with a DBM heat map initially, so that's why it has the appearance it does versus the ones you guys may see. Once you have them all loaded, you can go to Utilities, Aggregate Coverage, and you can do combining of these. So on. Going back to Tab. If you want to rerun one of these, for instance, if something's not quite right, make sure you close it. Anything that's in Mapper, if it's in Mapper, you have to close it out, and then do that. Close Mapper. Come back here. You can delete results of one of them, and then rerun that individual one if you like. So make changes however you want to do it. Note here that these fixed facilities and mobile facilities throughout, even before I ran it, were offline. So these are copies that are associated just with this AutoCoverage study. They don't make any changes to the database. Now, if I make a change to Douglas North 3 and it's included in multiple cases in here, it'll show up in all the cases that I've loaded for that at that particular time for this particular AutoCoverage study. And with that, I guess the one last thing is to show you, I want to take this and I want to click Create Coverage Study. I can make a copy of that coverage study outside of that. Any of these coverage studies will show up in a new folder with the same name as the AutoCoverage study itself. And it's going to have all the info, the shapefile, summary, CSV, and then you can move this around as you wish within that project. So I'm going to drop it here on coverage studies, for instance, and now I've got it under coverage studies. So it becomes portable. You can move it wherever you want. When you're done with your setup, and you have a setup that you like, you can click Save Study Defaults, as you can do with AutoCoverage studies, so it always loads up with the same set of study defaults for all of these. With that, I will say good day and happy tapping. Enjoy AutoCoverage.